All right, it's Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, and you can see a little bit of that on Keith and I. Although we both just had a conversation, you did okay on Thanksgiving Day,
I did. I kind of behaved myself mostly.
huh? Me too, me too. Now, I know you're a guy who likes pancakes and the sweet stuff and that kind of stuff. Do you have a nice pie yesterday?
Did had a chocolate pie. My daughter makes an awesome chocolate pie, so I only had one piece, but it was a pretty good sized piece.
There you go. I had a little pumpkin pie myself yesterday. Well, more importantly, you got to practice yesterday. Tell me what it was like.
Well, it's always a fun time to practice Thanksgiving morning. A lot of excitement in the air. We have a lot of people come out and watch practice. Um, great weather. It was a little chilly when we started, but it was really great weather. And it was a great time at the end of it to kind of talk about some really important things like being grateful,
Yep.
all the things we've been blessed with and that we have. And overall, it was a great day.
Yeah, I would think so. One of those blessings is named Katie Jones. We'll get to him in a moment. And actually, we'll go back to do that now. You got here with an absolute thrashing, 42-7 of Union. We talked about that game, the game before, how much better you guys had gotten, and obviously you saw that there. Was that your most complete game?
I think probably so. We played really well in all three phases. Our execution, was outstanding overall. Union's an excellent football team, and so to win by that margin speaks well for how our kids played.
One of those is again KD Jones, almost 250 yards rushing and receiving combined. He was just a force. Caleb Barnett had a bigger role than in that first game. And again, we talk about your quarterback play, which has been good. But your offensive line got a little bit of run in the newspaper, and I was really happy to see that. Your guys up front got their names in the paper. Must have had a heck of a game.
They certainly did. As a matter of fact, we gave all five of them our Offensive Player of the Game award for that game, and as a group, they've just come so far and improved so much from the first game of the year to now. They're playing at a really high level, and when you have a running back like KD, that you're going to get to the second and third level because of your blocking up front. You give your run game a great chance.
He's been better these last few weeks. I mean, he's been good forever, but he's been better these last few weeks. What has elevated in his game?
Well, I think certainly our offensive line play has helped a bunch. He's getting to the second and third level without having to dodge linemen, without having to dodge blitzing linebackers, and that's where he is at his best, is being at that second and third level and making guys miss and breaking tackles there.
What about Caleb Barnett? Because he too seems to have had a much bigger role in the last several games. He had to learn you guys a little bit. Of course, he had the early issues. He got over those, and he's just kind of exploded. Is this just the natural progression for him?
Well, I think it's just been a matter of time for him to get in and get comfortable with what we're doing offensively. He has some really unique skills that we want to take advantage of, and as he became more and more of our game plan, we've been able to implement some of those things. And he's at this point, he's fully into what we're doing offensively and a big part of our game plan.
Now, for those who if you're paying attention, you realize this is game day. Jenks and Owasso are going to get together about 1 o'clock. As a matter of fact, Keith agreed to do this a little earlier than normal so we could get this on. So you guys are in the middle of pregame coming up about right now. What's happening right now?
Right now, we're having breakfast downstairs, and we'll be loading up the buses here in just a few minutes to head to Claremore.
What time are you going to get on?
We'll be on the buses at pulling out at 9:15.
Wow. All right. So then once you get there, I mean, I think a lot of people, if you go back to my high school days, we didn't spend that much time. We spent time at the school, got on the bus, you went to the stadium, and it was pretty much time to go warm up. What do you guys do when you get there? What's the pattern?
A typical pregame, we're going to arrive and our training room will open up for our guys that need to be taped or have anything done from our athletic trainers. That's usually going to be about 40 to 45 minutes. And then we'll begin with meetings, starting with special teams. We'll have a special teams meeting period, followed by a defensive meeting, followed by an offensive meeting. After the offensive meeting, we'll have an FCA period for anybody that wants to participate. We have different speakers for those. And when that concludes, we'll have about 8 to 10 minutes before our first wave steps out on the field.
I mean, it actually goes pretty quickly. And for anyone thinking, well, it's a 1 o'clock game, why would you leave it at 9:15? There's a lot to do. There literally is just an awful lot to do. Now, you're going to play an Owasso team that you've seen, and I don't want to. You're kind of on your tour of teams who beat you earlier, and now I get another chance. Is that a better way to say it?
Yes, that's a good way to
Because
put it.
I'm not going to use the R word, but you're on that tour, and here comes this Owasso team that surprised everybody beginning of the year, and they obviously had a very nice game against your team. How do you play them now? What do you see from them now? What's different?
Well, there's not a lot different about their team, and there hasn't had to be. Offensively, they're big and physical up front, and they take advantage of that. They have an outstanding run game because of it. They've got three really good running backs. They use all three of them. Their quarterback, who's just a sophomore, but has played at a really high level. Their running game certainly has helped him. They don't have to put anything on his shoulders to go win a game. But very accurate passer and great receivers to throw to. So, they're really, they're averaging, I don't know, 47, 48 points a game. No one has really stopped their offense. Defensively, it's really rare to see a team in week one and see a team at this point in the season, and all their starters are the same group of guys, so they haven't had to. I know they've had to deal with some injuries and missing guys during the season, but they've got them all back, which is pretty rare. But they're playing at a high level in all three phases, and they're really good at what they do.
They have had some points scored on them lately. Have you seen some differences in the way teams are approaching them?
A little bit. They were missing a few guys, which I think probably impacted that a little bit. But also, as teams start to see more and more of them on film and start to figure out, what might work and what doesn't work, you see some changes in how people attack them over time.
Well, I'm not going to ask you for the game plan because you wouldn't tell me anyway. But if I were to ask you what your team has to do best today, and let's put aside consistency and turnovers because we know that's the huge part of the game. What do you have to do really well today against an Owasso team that has proven to be really good?
We got to win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We feel like they were the most physical team in the second half of our first game. And we can't let that happen in this game. We've got to be the most physical team. We've got to win the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively.
Has your week of practice been focused on that somewhat, I assume?
Yes, sir.
A little of that's going on. He keeps his counsel close. All right. All right. So before we go, I just want you to know, first of all, I think playing in Claremore, we kind of talked last week about, being out in different places. Not a big deal, right? It's just another game.
Yeah, it's going to be a neutral site no matter what. So it's probably going to be someplace we haven't played. But once the game starts, once you start warming up,
Yeah.
All the things around you really don't matter, and you don't notice.
And the 1 o'clock game, people say, oh, it's during the day. Well, you practice during the day. So it really isn't that different, is it?
No, it's not. We've been out of school this week, so we've been practicing at basically the exact same time that we'll be playing. So I don't think there will be any issues there.
Okay. Well, I just want you to know, you get a good win on this one, then the weekend special at Sunrise Cafe sounds like you. And I saved this so I could throw it out there right before you get on the bus. You know what churros are, right? The Mexican churros?
Yes, sir.
Churro pancake platter. So it's churro pancakes. He says Randy Robbins said they've done this several times and it sells out in just a few hours. So churro pancakes, and then that's topped with bacon, sausage, or ham and 2 eggs cooked to order.
Wow. That sounds good.
That'd be a good Saturday morning after a nice win, huh? Well, I
Yeah.
expect this one to be terrific. I'm going to be out there and see if I can buy a ticket to get my way in, which might be hard with 6,000 seats and the number of people are going to travel. But yeah, be safe. Thank you for making the adjustment this morning. And remember, It's North Pole University time, so watch out for flying sleighs.
All right. Thank you, Rick.